Alright, end of the year's coming, and I've decided to do a top 5 fighters who haven't lost their O's. Call them prospects, call them flawless fighters, whatever you want to call them. But these are the best ones that I do believe are gonna perform next year and might go on to do some big things within their division. Now, I'm gonna set the tone for the video. There's a few caveats. So a few disqualifications, if you will. Now, someone like Jon Jones is not going on this list. Why? Well, he's lost. Well, enough said, done. Now, the real reason is because, yes, he does have a DQ loss. It's a loss on paper, guys. Hey, I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. But the other reason is because Dominic Reyes whooped his ass. Just saying. And he didn't get the qualified win, whatever. Call this controversial, whatever the fuck you want. On paper, he doesn't have on paper, he does have a loss. And off paper, he still lost. If that makes sense. But yeah, Jon Jones, disqualified. Loss on paper. Loss off paper. Alright? Don't care if you're a Jon Jones Glazer. He is disqualified. Enough said. Anyways, moving on to another disqualification. Now, it sucks, but we do have to disqualify this one. Sadly, he did not make the list. Nate the Train, baby! Now, I know it sucks, guys, but unfortunately, we do have to look at records here. Nate the Train he has a loss on his record. Now, they're unjustified as fuck, let's be real. All of these are robberies. He didn't really get knocked out by Herbert Burns, guys. That's bullshit. You know, he's never got submitted. Like, this is all just attackers, I'll tell ya. Fucking, this is targeted on the train, baby. You know, targeted bombing on the record of the train here. You know, but it is what it is. We have to accept it. It's on paper. He's disqualified for this video. Alright. But, yeah, moving on to the next disqualification. We got DDP. Now, you might be like, why are you mentioning DDP? Well, he obviously has 2 losses, but I'm doing this as a clarification. They need to not lose in general, right? Even in their amateur career, because there are a lot of flawless fighters who have like 1 loss, 2 loss, like type situations going on. Mauricio Huffy, that's a good example. I think Caio Brajalio also might have a loss. I can't remember when he got it, but regardless, I'm not counting them. Because, yes, well, they haven't lost in the UFC. Sorry, I thought a sneeze was coming. They did lose in their career. Now, you know, championship, KSW type situation. It is what it is. But, yeah, DDP's actually been finished both times. He's been guillotined and he's been knocked out. So, kind of funny to imagine, just saying. But, yeah, anyways. They're disqualified. They have to have a 0 on that loss. So the rest of this list is going to be the qualified contenders, if you will. And the rankings are going to be the ones that I believe in the most. So I've got some high confidence. I've got some low confidence. Lowest confidence coming in at number 5 is Mick Parkin. Now, I made videos on this guy before. I don't like him, okay? He has way too many close fights. Great knockout on Lucas Brzeski, you know. We'll see what happens this Saturday night with Lucas Brzeski career. But it is what it is. Way too close with Muhammad Usman. Way too close against Kyle Machado. You know, I think even Jamal Pogues was kind of close. I don't like that. But the reason why I believe in this guy, why I believe in Tubby, even though he's only 6'3", guys. Only 6'3". It's mainly because he is young. He's a flawless heavyweight. Not many of those anymore. And he is at the same gym as Tom Aspinall. They'll probably never fight each other, aka Mick Parkin will be getting scraps. And if he's getting scraps, Aspinall's going to have the game plan from when he whooped their ass. You know? Like if Mick Parkin gets like a Derek Lewis, what's his name? Fucking Curtis Blades. If he gets like a Volkov on a next losing streak, a Tai Tuivasa type situation, something along those lines, Tom Aspinall's probably got the game plan set out already, you know? Got the gasoline on the knuckles trick, you know. Safe to say, Mick Parkin's got a good leader above him. You know, he might still be a fat, overweight heavyweight, but I wanted to get him some credit here, because being flawless in heavyweight is really hard. Regardless if you want to say he's shit or not, I agree with you, don't worry. It is a skill to not get finished at heavyweight. You know, there's a lot of people, injuries like a Tom Aspinall, you know, I think one submission as well, Tom Aspinall received early in the career. But it's really hard, I think, in heavyweight, especially, to get to the UFC, fight contenders, and now I believe he's even, is he ranked? There's no way he's ranked, right, guys? Oh my god, he is ranked. Holy shit, I didn't even know that. Anyways, yeah, I believe in McParkin. I think he's got good coaching on his shoulders, you know? And I think he's got solid bases everywhere. And I think the skill of not getting finished in heavyweight is very good. And I can see McParkin going far. Maybe not championship level, but he could probably crack top 10. I think he caps out at top 5. But I could be proven wrong, depending on how this guy's career goes. He's coming off a KO. It's not his first KO, so that's good to see. We like that in heavyweights. But yeah, some decisions, a little ugly, a little nasty. Don't like seeing those. Come on, McParkin, clean it up. But I believe in the brother, you know? I believe in the brother. England, that's my heritage all the way before the English decided to colonize Canada. So, you know, we're looking at like over 200 years of heritage here. But yeah, anyways, regardless, hey, nice to see a brother win. Anyways, moving on. Now this one, I really didn't want to put it here. I really didn't want to put it here. I'm not going to lie to you. This next one on number 4, I didn't want to put it here. And it is Umar Nurmagomedov. I know. Listen, I know. Most undeserved title shot in UFC history. Could be. Shitty performance against Corey 3-2. Wow, congratulations, bro. Peter Yan did the same thing. Crazy. Aljamain fucking submitted him. Just saying. You know, Umar, 5 rounds, basically did nothing. No wobbling, no dangerous submission situations. And that's his only ranked win. But the reason why he's so high up here is because there's not a lot of flawless fighters in title contention. Kind of obvious Umar's the next title shot for Murad Divishvili. So if we're going on accomplishments here, I'm not saying I'm picking Umar against Murad, but I am saying Umar's got a real chance against Murad Divishvili. Now, regardless if you like Murad or if you hate Murad, Umar's still got a chance. And I think if your best is like a 50-50 that you give Umar because he's a little bit more dangerous than, a lot bit more dangerous than Murad. It just comes down to if Murad can just grind out another boring fucking decision and rob a fighter of a victory like he did O'Malley, just saying, alright. But regardless, I think Umar deserves this spot. He does have a good chance of becoming champion right here. I think he's ranked number 2 or 3 at the moment. Number 2. Wow. What the fuck is the UFC doing? Anyways, Umar is ranked number 2. I don't think there's that many flawless fighters ranked that high. You know? Yeah, there's... Yeah. So, if we're talking about numbers here, if we're talking about status, if we're talking about accomplishments in the next year, I think Umar kind of takes the cake here. I'm not putting him above the rest here, mainly because I'm not 100% sold Umar is that good. Listen, I actually really like Umar. From all the daggy rats that come from the cliff, Umar's probably second under Islam, maybe above Islam, depending. I do like his fighting style. I do think he's got good striking. He did get knocked out to backset Almakhan in that fight, but I mean, if he gets knocked out and he knows how to nut hug, that's permanently in that brain of his. So it is what it is. I do think Umar here, 0 losses. I think this is a good spot for him. I like him at number 4. That's where I'm putting him. But moving on to number 3. Now, the only reason why this one is below the one after it is mainly because skill for skill, I don't think he's that good. But we have none other than breaking the top 3, Shavkat Rakhmonov. Now, I like Shavkat. I like him. He has finished Stephen Wonderboy Thompson by submission. Sick-ass rear naked choke. Literally 4 seconds left. He's got one hell of a grip, let me tell you, right? Then he also whooped Jeff Neal. Then he also whooped Neil Magny. I love seeing this. Ian Gary's not on this list. I'm just, spoilers, I guess. Because Ian Gary, Neil Magny decision. Ugh. Jeff Neal decision split. Ugh. So I think Rachmanov just puts himself above Ian Gary, regardless if he wins or loses Saturday night, right? But I do rate Shavkat Rachmanov. It's something to be said to be in the top echelon of the division, to be given a title shot against Bilal. After Bilal pulls out, he's even fighting a contender. I like to see that. Apparently, he's submitted Ian Gary a few times in training, meaning he's beaten flawless fighters in training. There's a lot of Shavkat here, and these next ones might get controversial because of how good Shavkat is on paper. And on paper, he is probably the best prospect, if you want to call him that, because he hasn't won a belt yet. The best fighter without a belt, I would say right now, is Shavkat Rachmanov on paper. A little bit of Anthony Smith there, right? On paper, guys, he's the best, right? He does have 10 submissions, 8 TKOs, fighting Ian Gary like a savage, even though he deserves the title shot. Fairly certainly, I would say, right? The only caveat to why Shavkat isn't higher than this next person is the level of comp he's fought. Now, he did fight Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, was losing striking exchanges, and got the grappling advantage. Kind of makes sense, right? Then we have Jeff Neal. He was running into shots, his striking was looking a little bit exposed. Just saying, right? There's a few times where we get Shavkat not looking the greatest as a fighter, but I would rate him better overall than Umar, at least on paper, because of the amount of finishes he's getting and the level of comp he's already fought. He has fought ranked opponents. This bum hasn't, That's what I'm saying. One ranked opponent doesn't mean shit. Whose best win? Corey Sandhagen's best win is probably what? Marlon Moraes? Song Yadong, you know what I mean? It's like, ugh, I hate seeing that. Anyways, regardless, Shavkat Rachmanov, I'm putting him at number 3. I think it's justified. I do think it's justified. Now, the one above him is Khamzat Chimaev. Now, I'm a fan of Khamzat. I do think he's overrated. I do think DDP beats him. However, I'm not going to say that it's crazy if you think Khamzat beats DDP. I do think Khamzat Chimaev has been proven in each division. He's beaten Kamaru Usman, even though it's off the couch welterweight. Still a solid win. Beat Kevin Holland. Whooped Gilbert Burns. Not whooped, it was close, I get that. But my point here on why Khamzat is above Shavkat Rachmanov is only because Khamzat has fought higher level comp, ranked at the time. Gilbert Burns has aged very well. Kevin Holland, not aged that well. Kamaru Usman, obviously it's a good win. But the most important one is a Robert Whittaker, Robert Whittaker could have got a title shot. He's had title shots. He's been a former champion. None of these guys have beaten a former champion. That's kind of the main reason why I'm putting Khamzat Chimaev so high. A recent former champion, I guess, at least, right, in the UFC. I do think that Khamzat Chimaev is overrated. I do think his striking isn't all that, but his round 1 dangerous ability is there. He is very active early in his career, guys. But yeah, later he's not been that active. However, he's still young. He's still kind of in prime, and if he does make it healthy to, this is what I will say. I would pick DDP to beat Khamzat Chimaev. I have my reasonings. Maybe I'll do my own video on that. But regardless, Khamzat Chimaev, if he shows up completely healthy, number 1. Full training camp, number 2. And number 3, no injuries mid-fight, like a broken hand, torn ligament, whatever. He probably does beat DDP in round 1, as he would probably beat anyone in round 1, mainly because of how dangerous, how aggressive, and how he does always fight for a finish, even though in certain fights he doesn't get it. And I think this Gilbert Burns fight is a really good testament. I know it's like, oh my god, he went to war with Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns at the time did have some heavy hands. Gilbert Burns is also, he was 1 round away from beating JDM. Just saying, right? Shit like that. So I do rate Khamzat Chimaev. I really did want to put JDM here, but I didn't realize he actually has losses on his record. So I had to make a short notice swap out here for number 2. And I think the only one that's justified is Khamzat Chimaev. He's been top 5 in both welterweight and middleweight. Now he's beaten Robert Whittaker. I'm not putting too much weight on the teeth being cranked or whatever, but he did get that submission very fast. Robert Whittaker has solid wrestling. I wouldn't say the best, but I think Khamzat Chimaev deserves this ranking. I think he does do the best, or this is another potential best out of all the flawless fighters next year, because he could go on to win the belt. He could go on to be double champ, kind of. I'm not sure. He probably would beat Alex Pereira just because he would just dive at legs. Something to think about, you know? And his grappling is elite level for these higher weight classes, 205, 185. You know, we gotta think about a lot of this when we're talking about flawless fighters here, you know? When we're thinking of, like, a Mick Parkin, you gotta put it into context. It is heavyweight. It's very hard not to just get knocked out or have a knee blowout or whatever. With Umar Nurmagomedov, a little bit of a different story. With Shavkat Rakhmonov, he's both dangerous with his hands and with submissions. That's something you gotta look out for, you know? In welterweight, which welterweight's a stacked division, in my opinion. It's slowly becoming even more stacked. Khamzat Chimaev, just... Ugh. You know? His grappling is dominant. His striking is serviceable. And because of his grappling being so dominant, I think he does, on paper, do very well in these next divisions, you know? I do still think he's human. I do still think DDP beats him. There's a lot of reasons why, but I do rate, if you're picking Khamzat Chimaev against anyone in the future, I completely understand why, and I'm not saying Khamzat Chimaev can't beat DDP. I just would pick DDP over Khamzat Chimaev. That's my personal opinion. As I would pick Sean Strickland against Khamzat Chimaev, just saying. But I do rate his chances. Round 1, he's got like a 90% finish fucking potential on any fighter in middleweight or above. But yeah, that's my personal opinion. Now, the undisputed best flawless fighter in the UFC currently, which I think there's no competition. I think this is the most brain-dead obvious pick. And if you pick anyone other than this, I do think you are just flat out wrong. The best prospect with a 0 next to their winning streak is Ilia Topuria. Now, you can say what you want about Khamzat's dominant grappling. You can say what you want about the 100% finish rate. You can say what you want about being well-rounded. You can say what you want about not being knocked out. Ilia Topuria has a goat killed in his left hand and another goat slaughtered in his right hand. And he's knocked out each with different hands. This guy is undisputed one of the best fighters on the planet right now. One of the best, alright? I'm putting him up there with Pereira. I'm putting them up there with fucking Jones all time, baby. You know, right now at least. And right now he currently sits at pound for pound number 4. I think it's hard to deny this guy's one of the best fighters this year and in general. Could be all time, alright? But the reason why I'm saying that Ilia Topuria is number 1 to look out for next year, basically, is because he can solidify not only the best fighter on the planet, by getting a double belt, going up a weight division, being successful there, if you were to do the Islam, then defend a belt, maybe in both divisions. Who knows? This guy's fucking insane. I'd pick him against anyone at this point, you know? Except Diego Lopez, you know? But if he does beat Diego Lopez, I think that solidifies him in the pound-for-pound rankings as some of the greats, you know? He's young at 27. He's only going to be improving, which is scary to think about. And his really only dangerous task is Islam up a weight division, which may or may not happen, or Diego Lopez, and that's it. There's only 2 fighters on this planet that I think pose even slight problems to Ilia Topuria, and that's why Ilia Topuria is number 1 on my flawless fighters list going into 2025. Like, guys, he's knocked out Max, and he's knocked out Alexander Volkanovski in the same year during their primes. Not Volkanovski's prime, Max's prime, right? He whooped Josh Emmett, giving some of the only 10-7s there's ever been. He whooped Bryce Mitchell, which will probably age very well. Some of the best KO highlights of all time against Jai Herbert. Beat Ryan Hall, the great Ryan Hall, guys, you know? Yusuf Zalal, which is aging very well. His resume is insane right now. He's never lost, which is insane right now. He's young, which is insane. He's only improving, which is insane. This guy's background is jiu-jitsu, and he's knocking out Max Holloway. I think I don't need to say anything more. This guy's undisputed the best right now in terms of flawless fighters. We can go into other conversations, but on the pound for pound list, is he the only flawless fighter? He's lost. Aspinall's technically lost. Rab is lost. DDP's lost. Bilal's lost. He's the only flawless fighter on the pound for pound list. Guys, I mean, I feel like I need to say it no more, you know? I do think Ilya is potential for the greatest fighter of all time, greatest combat athlete of all time, whatever you want to call it. I do think Ilya is the next candidate for it. All he really needs to do is go up a weight division and defend a belt for a really long time. Or just get different defenses, because he's already got a title defense. So he just kind of needs 9 more, you know, and then we can start calling him the GOAT. But real talk, his resume is insane. I do think he is the only flawless fighter who's a champion right now, which is another thing to be mentioned. Like, there's so many reasons why Ilya Topuria is here on #1 in the flawless fighters category. But regardless, that's all I really wanted to say. I wanted to get my thoughts and opinions out there. I thought it'd be fun, goofy to do. But yeah, I daily upload, you know, but thanks for watching. You know, I probably should have said thanks for watching first, but yeah, I daily upload, you know, so if you want daily MMA content, hey baby, you know who you're looking for. I will be taking over this space in no time, and I'm talking about the YouTube space. I'm going global with this shit. But anyways, with all that being said, I want to thank you for watching. As always, I hope you have a good day.